Hi everyone, this is Jane at Rockin' Worms. I want to give a brief update on the status of the blue bin. When we left things off on part 4 of the indoor tabletop pre-composting bin, I wasn't getting the temperature readings that I expected. And I thought maybe, it was my thermometer or something just wasn't right. So what I decided to do is to take a deeper look into the bin to see what was happening. And while I talk to you about what I found and how I fixed it, let's take a look into the system right now and see what's going on. So I'm going to take off the top, roll the burrito. I really like how the oversized screening works for taking the shred on top on and off so easily without a mess. That's great. Okay, so here's the bin. Let's do the smell test. A little coffee, not even much. I already have the probe in because it takes time for the thermometer to read, and I wanted to save us that a little bit. And look we're at 111 degrees. We're back where we were when we took our first check-in reading at 111 degrees. So I'm pretty excited that I'm back to where I started off with. And let me tell you what I found the issues in the bin to be. Why I got some of those surprising lower temperatures when we did the part 4 sneak check-in. Okay, so I'm going to stick this in another part of the bin just to see if we get a similar reading over time while I'm talking to you. Okay, so like I said, I wasn't getting the readings I expected, and some of them were quite surprising. In the center of the bin, when I did that reading in part 4, I was getting an 86-degree temperature. What I found is when I started digging into the bin, I found right dead center, halfway down, a pocket of cardboard shred that looked like it had just come out of my shredder. It was dry. It wasn't coated with the nitrogen, the coffee grounds. It wasn't damp. There was just nothing going on there. No wonder when I stuck the probe into the middle of it, it read 86 degrees. It was just picking up its own ambient temperature, not the temperature it was in and of itself. So I knew right then I had some additional mixing I had to do. As I started doing that mixing, I found a couple other little pockets, so clearly needed better mixing. Also, I started thinking about what I told you. These systems are pretty simple. It's carbon, nitrogen, moisture, and the microbial activity. And I said, ooh, nitrogen and carbon. Was my ratio correct? Did I have approximately 70% of carbon to 30% of nitrogen? And guess what? I didn't. I kind of mixed up my calculation there a little bit. So let's look at this a little bit more simplistically as far as that ratio goes. A good tip is to think about 3 gallons of carbon to 1 gallon of nitrogen. I had put in 16 gallons of carbon into this bin, which means I needed at least 5 gallons of nitrogen. I'd only put in 4. So I was already 1 gallon of nitrogen short. So I immediately put in that heaping gallon of nitrogen into the bin and started mixing it in along with those dry pockets, right? But dry pockets, starting off with, and dry coffee grounds meant I had to add more moisture because otherwise I was just taking one not good situation and developing another not good situation. Not good. So I just got out more of my vegetable slurry. Thank you to a commenter for suggesting that as a term to use other than juice or slop. So I got the vegetable slurry and I started working it into the bin and just made sure that this time I not only concentrated on the corners like I had suggested needs to be done, but I also concentrated on the center. So I concentrated on the whole bin and just worked it through. And I'll tell you, it took me about 40 minutes. One of the things with doing these videos is I try to be conscious of the time that I'm asking you to spend with me doing these bins. And so sometimes I go a little bit faster than I should. And what I'm suggesting to you is what you see on these videos as far as how much time it takes to do something may not accurately reflect how much time you should take to do these things, how much time I should to take to do these things. So I just needed to go back and put in the time. And I got the system back. Now we're where we were when we started. And I moved the probe around, as you saw me stick it in the beginning of the video, and I'm at 109 degrees in a new location. That is perfectly fine. Being 111 in one place, 109 in another place, it's all close enough. And again, signals that the system is back where it should be. So that's all I wanted to share with you tonight, because if your system isn't working, you're getting temperature readings that are surprisingly low, think about what you did and see where you think the correction needs to be made. If the temperatures are low, it probably has to do with your nitrogen or your moisture. And that's what I wanted you to know, because you may have these issues in your bin, maybe not this time, but maybe 4 or 5 times down the road like I did with this bin. All right, so that's what I wanted to share with you. Thank you very much for spending another check-in with me. I hope that you will consider liking and subscribing. Please put any comments you have down below. I'm happy to answer everything that I can. And I'm yours in the dirt. Have a good evening, Jayne.